Hello guys, welcome to Daddy and the Don. We are here today to talk all things transfer news in and around the Premier League, a little bit from Europe as well, big headlines. But first of all, we're going to go over to Graham. He's going to give us a quick rundown, club by club Premier League, see how we're going to ease into the show, etc. But you're right there, Graham? How's it going?
Yeah, I'm good, mate. How are you? You right?
Yeah, got your notes ready?
Yeah, just about.
Yeah. Before we go to Graham, just a few bits to go through. So this is a call-in show. So anyone that wants to get involved, talk about their club, put their personal opinions on. It could be about a player. It could just be about their club in general. Stick it in the comments section or even join the stream if you're brave enough. We've got the link there in the chat. You might not get on straight away. You might be backstage for a little bit, but just bear with us and then we will get you on as soon as possible. So without further ado, here is Graham with Around the League. Fire away, G.
Yeah, so I'm just going to go around each team with a quick headline. Obviously, I won't try and duplicate the headlines that we're going to talk about. So we're going to start off of the alphabetical order. Arsenal are in advanced talks with Southampton over the signing of Romeo Lepia. Obviously, Arsenal are in for a lot of players at the moment, but it seems like this deal will go through. It will be a club record deal, and it will go through regardless if Arsenal sign Rice or not. And there is some news on Kai Havertz, but we will get to that. Aston Villa have already signed one midfielder this summer. They signed Yuri Tielemans. They are interested in Galatasaray midfielder Zanoli. Regarding Bournemouth, they're close to signing winger Justin Kluivert for around £10 million. Brentford have already signed two players, Sade permanently and Frecken the goalie. They are interested in a few players, currently in advanced talks with Swaoli, a Dutch team, for the 18-year-old defender Van der Berg, and apparently they are still interested in Brennan Johnson. Brighton have been busy so far signing Milner, Zohord and Pedro, but they have not given up hope in re-signing Levi Cullerville, this time on a permanent £40 million deal from Chelsea. Watch this space on that one. Regarding Burnley, they have been linked with a few players, and apparently they are close on a couple of defenders from Dortmund on loan. They're looking to sign, let me get his name, Somali Koulibaly, who's 9 years old, and apparently just breaking news today, looking like they're going to sign O'Shea from West Brom. Dara O'Shea, obviously not John O'Shea. Chelsea, well, they're in the news. A lot of players leaving. They've been linked with a lot of players. But it looks like they're going to sign, what's his name, Nicholas Jackson, 35 million release clause for the Villarreal striker. Watch this space on this one. It hasn't been officially confirmed, but it looks like that one's going to go through at some point. Crystal Palace, like Aston Villa, have already signed a central midfielder. Lerman's going to come through the door July the 1st. Been linked with a lot of players, nothing concrete, but there has been a lot of rumours in the last couple of days that they are interested in Flo Balogun from Arsenal. But I believe Arsenal, I think, will keep him and they will push Eddie out the door. So we'll keep an eye on that one with Palace. Everton, well, they have been linked with Summerfield, the winger from Leeds, and also they're looking like they might want to sign Sam Johnson from Palace if Everton do end up selling Jordan Pickford. Regarding Fulham, another team linked with a lot of players, but it looks like they are into Fred. Man United have said that 20 million will do it if they want Fred. I think this will depend if Pellegrini leaves or not. Liverpool have already signed McAllister for a bargain, £35 million. They are looking for another midfielder, and according to reports in Italy, Nicolas Peretta is now looked like he's favourite to go to Liverpool. It will depend. That's only reports, but we'll see. Watch the space with that one. Luton, well, they're interested in a couple of players that you probably won't know, but obviously they don't have the budget. But it looks like Robert Kaminsky, the Blackburn goalie, and 17-year-old winger Samuel Intanta are two players that look like they're going to go to Luton. They are strongly interested. Again, watch this space with that one. I do expect them to sign a few players, but right now I think they're concentrating more on the stadium. Man City have just agreed a £30 million deal for Mateo Kovacic from Chelsea. This will go through shortly. This looks like he's a replacement for Gundogan, who has left. Man United have been looking at a lot of players, but nothing really concrete at the moment. We're going to talk about Kane. Looks like he's not going there, but Osimhen and Hofland are two players that Man United are apparently really interested in. No, Newcastle, again, another team interested in a lot of players. Looks like Beretta's not going to happen, and they now have an alternative, Sandro Tonelli from AC Milan, but it looks like he's going to cost around the same amount of money. They also are still interested in Maddison, but nothing has really surfaced at the moment regarding that transfer. Moving on to Nottingham Forest, they signed about 59 players last year. They have been linked with a few players. Moroccan midfielder Safan Amarat and former Arsenal defender from Stuttgart, Panos. Both been linked with these players, but again, they're just reports. They're not official or anything concrete. Sheffield United, nothing really going on for them at the moment. They are interested in bringing loanees from Man City back, Tommy Doyle and Jason McAtee. But look, at the moment, looks like they need to keep hold of Ndiaye, who been linked with a move to Marseille. Tottenham, James Maddison seems to be the main guy. I don't know if the reports were correct, if they did make a bid, but apparently they are very interested and expect at least an official bid coming shortly for Maddison, around 50 million. West Ham, well, they look like they're going to line up some replacements for Rice. João Palhinha and Edison Alvarez are two players that are top of the list. And again, once Rice goes, expect them to make a move from one of them too. And Wolves, nothing really going with Wolves at the moment, but reports today from the club say that they are interested and they will let Max Kilman leave for around 30 million. And that's it from around the league.
All right, cheers for that, Jeez. A few interesting ones in there. A few that we'll probably talk about during the show as well. A few we probably won't unless any fans call in. But anything in there that stood out for you in particular? Anything that you found were really tasty ones?
Yeah, what's it? Where has he gone? There is one, actually. Bear with me. I am looking for him. I think West Ham, if they do sell Rice, which I think they will eventually, I do think they've got two decent players there lined up. Me and Mark Hill had a conversation today. Palhinha won't go to West Ham. West Ham matched their valuation and offer him wages. He's going to play in Europe, so I don't get that. And Alvarez is a very good player. I'm surprised not more bigger teams are interested in him. He's a very good player for Ajax. He can play centre-back as well. So if West Ham were able to get one of them two, that would be very good. And also, Nottingham Forest interested. I don't know how true it is, but obviously you look on reports. But the Amberat is a very good player. Obviously, Mocker in the World Cup, and he plays for Fiorentina. Again, I do think he will go somewhere a bit better than Nottingham Forest. But if they are able to coup that, then that would be a great deal. And obviously with Brentford, they've been looking with a few players, Vandenberg and other South Korea lads, both youngsters. So they're looking to bring youngsters at the back. But I expect them to go back in for Brendan Johnson. I do eventually think Forest will succeed to the pressure and accept a bid. But yeah, nothing really else that really tickles my fancy there. A lot of it is just rumours. A lot of clubs like Palace and Villa and Brighton and Liverpool have all already made signings all in that midfield area. And they've already got that head start. So a lot of teams like Man United, Wolves, Nottingham Forest, Sheffield United, Burnley, they all need to catch up. They're teams that need to sign players for me. And yes, I said Nottingham Forest. I know they signed everyone last year, but that team for me is very weak. And they've signed a lot of players that now I think Cooper's regretting signing, like Lingard and so.
The money involved in some of these transfers, are you finding this year it's gone a bit mental? Like last year, you picked up, what was it, Jesus and Zinchenko for, was it 45 million and 30 million, 25 million, something like that?
Yeah.
And you're looking at the prices, teams that have been relegated, teams that have got players with 1 year left on their contract, they're just demanding like monstrous amounts of money. Is it going mental? Is it just a snowball? So say like you just take the Rice thing, for example. Everyone knows West Ham's got that money then, haven't they? And then they go, oh, how much for this? Well, you've just had 90 million, so we want that. And it just ends up, the last team will just get Arsenal's 90 million and everyone else will end up having to spend it replacing their players.
It's ridiculous because obviously, look, I'm a big fan of Rice, but 90 million is a lot for a central defensive midfielder. But I think people go, English tax. Fuck off English tax. João Palhinha's not worth fucking 80 million. Casido's not worth 120 million, and they're not English. David Raya is not worth 40 million with a year left on his contract, and he's not English. So it isn't anything to do with English players. It's just to do with the fact that the clubs are just valuing their players a lot more because transfers that have gone before have been overpriced. Now, Man United won that lad from Atlanta, Hofland, I've already mentioned it, 100 million for a guy that's gone, less than 20 goals. It's just these, but then if Man United, let's say example, if Atlanta went in for, let's say Martial, they go 20 million. Martial's worth more than that guy because he's proven. It's just how the market is in certain clubs and how they value their players. It's ridiculous. And yeah, there is English tax. I get that. And I've said, most of the Casido's played 1 full year in the Premier League and he's worth 120 million. Fuck off. He's not. He's a good player. But people have short memories. A lot of players flop. Look at Cucurella. Oh, he's worth 65. No, he isn't. And look at him now. Look at Pepe for Arsenal. He's worth 70. No, he isn't. Look at him now. So these clubs overvalue these players. It's very frustrating. A lot of teams are going to struggle to get deals done. Example, Max Kilman, if he is available for 30 million, I don't know how true that is, but 30 million for a player that had a good year last year, I think Wolves are realistic. And they've sold Neves for 46 million. Yes, he had a year left on his deal, but if he had 2 years left on his deal, he could have easily gone for 90. So it's just very frustrating. Everyone just jumps on opinions that on these players that they're worth this amount. A lot of these players ain't. For me, you shouldn't be paying more than 60 million for a defensive midfielder. João Paulinho is not worth 70 million. I think that's the most ridiculous one for me. He's worth about 35, 40. He's 28 years old. He had one good year. Let's just calm the hell down, all right? Declan Rice has been doing it for 3-4 years. And I'm not saying justifying the price tag, but we need him. I think Partey's past it. I think Partey wants to go. We need him. We're going to have to pay it. Doesn't mean I agree with what we're paying, but yeah, we'll get onto that shortly.
Also, with the snowball, right? So, say you're going to pay 90, 100 million for Rice, and then West Ham want to get a player, Fulham demand that money for their player. West Ham haven't got that money, though, because you're trying to pay it in like 48 instalments, aren't you, over 4 years?
Yeah.
So,
I think, yeah.
Yeah, so paying it over 4 years is going to be monthly, isn't it? It's not going to pay it yearly. So, 48 instalments, that's going to be like, what? 2 million a month max that you're going to be paying West Ham.
Oh, and West Ham want the money at top, like you said.
Yeah. So then, if that does go through, they can't then buy someone for 90 million because they haven't got that money yet.
Exactly.
So
I'm just saying, none of these players are worth that money. It's ridiculous.
Aren't you still paying for Nicolas Pepe at the moment?
I think that's just about finished.
But that's ridiculous. It's nearly to the point where you just sold him before you finish paying for him.
Yeah,
so
ridiculous.
Just a quick one we look at happened yesterday, didn't it? So Nkunku to Chelsea. Obviously, Chelsea have just shed quite a lot of players. So that's money off the wage bill. Most amount looks like he's going. So Nkunku in. What's your thoughts on that one? Because to me, they're saying striker Christopher Nkunku. He very rarely played as the centre striker, did he? Last season, he always played sort of like as one of the wide players, but like Mo Salah, cutting him from wide positions or as a second striker. Do you think that will fit at Chelsea?
Well, going to what I've already mentioned regarding Nicholas Jackson, he's a striker. So I think if he is going to sign, which looks like he is, he will be the striker. Okay, and you got Broja as well, who will back him up. Nkunku's definitely going to be a winger. For me, he's very similar to Werner in the sense where he can play that position, but he is a winger. He is a number 10. Now, if you look at it now, Chelsea are shredding a lot of players. That leaves Mudryk, Sterling, the other English lad they signed in January, I can't even say his name, and Nkunku. They're the 4 wingers now because Pulisic will go, Ziyech is leaving, Hudson-Odoi is going to go, Loftus-Cheek's going to play more in the central position if he stays. So, for me, I expect him to play on the left, on the right, but is an option to play if they want to play other wingers. He can play up front. So I think it's a great signing. But again, I've already mentioned Werner played for the same team. He played very well. And look what he done in the Premier League. Doesn't mean it's going to happen to Nkunku. I've seen a lot of him via highlights. I've never seen him play live because I don't watch the German League apart from when we watch the last day of the season. I don't watch the German League. Okay, I'm not going to act like I do and do what people do and go, Koulibaly's a great player. And then he comes to the Premier League. He's not a great player. But I, from what I've seen of the highlights and what he's done for France, he looks like a good player. He looks like he's a bargain in this market, because he could have easily been 100 million. They got him early. They got him for 50. I think if they weren't getting that agreement in October, I think he would have cost at least another 30. But again, I think he's someone who gives a lot of, versatility. But I fully expect, obviously Chelsea have quite a few young strikers. I fully expect Nkunku to play for me as a winger or behind the striker, maybe replacing Havertz.
Yeah, so potentially overall with the transfer, it's going to be an upgrade on what they had last year. And do you think they already had him lined up, or do you think this is a Poch first man he wanted?
Well, he's lined up. He's been lined up since October.
So again, do you think this is what Poch wants, or do you think he's just going to be?
I think when managers negotiate for a new club, I think this is something that's going to obviously be mentioned. I'd like to feel, obviously it's Todd Bowley, you know what he's like, but surely if they're signing a new manager, we're like, okay, look, we've just signed a new player, 30, 50 plus million. He's going to start. Okay, we brought him in. We're not going to have him sit the bench. This is something that Poch would have to agree. I can't see Poch going, no, I don't want to play him, because I think Poch would be like, well, this guy seems to be a player that a lot of teams wanted. Why would I not want to play him? So yes, I don't think it's a Poch signing because he was signed before Poch even came in. But I do think Poch is going to be like excited to work with him, and I fully expect this guy to start if he's fit. I expect him to be in the starting lineup. Again, I don't know his strongest position. I know he's very versatile. He could end up playing on the right, and I think Sterling will start on the left. And like I said, I think this Nicholas Jackson's a good player, though maybe is he ready to start week in, week out? It gives Chelsea have got a lot of versatility, and what they've done well, and what I expected them to do, is shred a lot of players. Havertz is potentially going to Arsenal, which we'll get to. Mason Mount, which we'll get to. Ziyech is fucking off. Pulisic, I can't see him staying. So they've got rid of a lot of crap. And now, if you look at their 4 wingers, none of them have been there longer than a year. Sterling, some of the other 2 in January. So they've brought a new team in. Now, they need to stick with this, and they need to stop just spending loads of money on new players, which they don't need. They need to give these boys time, because Sterling's the oldest, and he's 27, 28. So we can all slag Chelsea off and laugh at them. But if Chelsea get it right this year and play the right team, they're going to do good. And this is Cuckoo. I like the look of him. I think he's a good player. And but again, time will tell.
Okay, so we spoke about it earlier. I'm going to go through the Declan Rice thing. What is going on with it, and what do you see? How long do you see this rolling on for? Because it's pretty much since the Europa Conference League final. It was the next day. It was all over. He's going to leave. Even was it Sullivan was on the TalkSport saying we've said he can go, and now they're haggling over the price. But like I saw him talking on Sky Sports News yesterday, they're saying if there's just one team in the race, you can't really start a bidding war, can you? So West Ham probably want like 3 or 4 people bidding for him, so they can just go to the highest bidder. But where do you see anyone else entering the race, and where do you see West Ham actually accepting your offer?
I don't. There's rumours about Man City. I can't see why Man City would enter the race. Rodri's the best centre defensive mid in the world, so as much as I like Rice, I can't see why City would enter the race, and they've just signed, Kovacic. So,
and they've got.
I do think no one else. Yeah, I don't think anyone else is going to be involved in it. I think it's Arsenal versus West Ham. West Ham want a bit more. West Ham needs to be clever here. I think Arsenal are being smart. They know that no one else is interested, regardless of the reports. Now, Arsenal are not going to just jump the gun and offer what they want. They're going to see if they can push the button. They know what West Ham are going to get desperate. If they don't sell him now, they're going to struggle to sell him in the summer, next summer, because he'll have 1 year left by then. He's got 2 at the moment. Now, I think Arsenal should personally, Arsenal should go, there's 90 million, 80 up front, and Eddie and Nketiah. Just for that. There you go. They want a striker. It's obvious that's what they want. Or you just offer 100 and go, this is our last offer, take it or leave it. West Ham will take 100 million and just make it up front. Fuck it. I don't agree with the evaluation. I don't think he's worth 100. But we need him. And unfortunately, we're going to have to pay it. So pay the 100 million or offer a bit less than Eddie, maybe offer a little bit of a cloth, but don't go offer them fucking Klarna deals, like fucking 80 and up front and then 20 and add-ons. Be smart with it. West Ham are going to accept an offer. You just need to, I don't think we're not going to offer 120. We don't have to offer 120. Just offer 100. They'll accept that. Regarding the player itself, I get very frustrated. It's not because he's linked with Arsenal. He's a fucking top player. And people going, he's overrated. Casido's better. This guy's been playing in this league for years and he's never put a foot wrong. And Casido's had 1 year. And he's a good player, by the way. But all of a sudden, he's better. It's just biasness against English players. I think Rice is a great player. And I want him in the team. I've said that. I think we just need to now get the deal done. Because at the moment, yes, no one's interested. But all it takes is that Todd Bowley from Chelsea to have a look. He will come in eventually. Man United, they might come in eventually. But right now, I think it is just us at the moment. But eventually, you just never know. An injury to Enzo Fernandez, Todd Bowley will just throw the money at it. An injury to Casemiro, the Qataris come in, Man United will go, well, take Rice. So Arsenal, though we have time, we can't take too much time. We need to get this offer done. Stop offering these Poundland fucking Klarna deals. Yeah, it's a decent offer, but we know they're not going to accept it. So just raise it up a bit. Try and push it a little bit more. Don't offer what exactly they want, because I think they will negotiate around the £100 million mark. And again, we've got 3 strikers now. Eddie Nketiah is the worst out of the 3. I think we keep Balogun, offer Eddie. There you go.
Would you not think even 100 million, if it's a bit much, if he stays at you for like 10 years, you're paying 10 million a season for him, aren't you?
Yeah.
So it's not actually that bad. If you're looking at someone like Harry Kane, who they're thinking of trying to sell for 100 million now, and you might get 4 or 5 years out of him. I know he's a striker, but you just look at it as an investment. If you've got someone that you're going to get a good 10 years out of 100 million, you probably take that because you haven't got to spend money in that area. How old's Odegaard? Odegaard's only in his like early mid-20s, isn't he?
Yeah, he's
so
and he costs 35 million. So
you've got 6 years, and that's your centre midfield sorted. You've got wingers. Probably just need another top-notch striker, and that's your top half of the pitch sorted for another 6 seasons, isn't it? So 100 million ain't the end of the world.
No, it isn't. I think we just got to offer it now. We're in. Just offer that money. Come on, let's get it in. Because we're going to sign Romeo Lavia, that one from Southampton, regardless. So I'm pretty certain him and Rice are going to be the guys in the middle. I think Jorginho, Partey and Xhaka all could depart. So I expect Arsenal are looking to revamp it. I think Havertz is going to obviously play in the midfield 3. I think that's why he's coming. I think he's going to play as the Xhaka role. So it's going to be interesting.
So early bid for this guy. So Mason Mount, Man United put an early offer in, got straight away rejected. Do you think that was about the right entry level for that bid, just to test the water, or do you think they should have put a bit more in on their first bid?
How much did they offer?
40 million. It got rejected straight away.
And how much has he got left on his contract? 2.
1 year.
Okay. What? Fucking hell. What? They rejected 40 million for Mason Mount with 1 year left.
Rejected That's straight away.
Ridiculous. Fucking ridiculous. Absolutely ridiculous. I'm not against Mason Mount. I think he's a good player, but he isn't the player that they think or the fans think. 1 year, okay, let's know 1 year. All right, 55 without any contract problems. If he had 3 years left, 55. 40 million 1 year. Take the money, man. Take the money.
Because if you get towards the end of August and no one's put a bid in for him,
take the money, man.
What's then going to happen?
Stupid.
You're going to get
ridiculous.
You're going to get him on the
Someone's
last
going to
day.
offer 30.
Yeah, you're going to get him on the last day cheap, because they need to sell him in the summer, because they can't let it go to January, can they?
I think he'll go Man United. I think they'll offer 50, won't they? And I think Chelsea will accept it. But for me, that's risky. That's playing your cards there. That's bluffing, because they think, you know, Chelsea will reject 40, and we expect them to come back in. There's no guarantee United will come back in. I know there's been reports that they are coming back in. And if they do and they offer what they want, then fair play. They've played it right. But for me, that's risky. Rejected 40 million for 1 year left. That's very, very risky for a player, for me, that hasn't proven to be at his top of ability. Again, I don't think he's been at the best. You know, obviously Norwich don't play every year in the Premier League, so that's a problem. You know, you can't score goals against Norwich every year. All jokes aside, he didn't do anything last year. He was injured for most of the season, so it's a risky one. But if they come back in, Man United get him for 50, though I don't agree with the fee on the contract, I think he will do well at Man United. But the thing is that where does he play? Because I was proven wrong. Christian Eriksen, for me, isn't, and Christian Eriksen doesn't play in the midfield too, but he's played in there this year when he's been available. He's done all right. But where is Mount going to play? Because Mount will want to play where Fernandes plays. He ain't going to want to play left or right the wing. So you're spending 40, potentially 50 million on a player who is potentially going to sit the bench, or is he going to play in midfield too? For me, Mason Mount doesn't play in midfield too, but can you play in midfield too if you've got Casemiro? That's questions that Ten Hag only knows. And then you've also got Van der Beek. Van der Beek, who's been injured, I don't know if he's going to stay. I don't really know what's going on with him. He's another one who can play in both positions. So where are they going to play him? Obviously, it could be another situation like Eriksen. Looks like he's going to be a backup that ends up starting. So, no, I think it's a good signing. It's a smart signing. It isn't so much of how much they're going to pay for a player with 1 year left and play potentially where a player that might not officially start. Again, I don't know Ten Hag. I'm not a Man United fan. I'm not an insider. I don't know what they're going to do. he could surprise us. But it's a decent deal. I don't think it's an amazing deal. I think there's better options out there for Man United.
Do you not think, though, with financial fair play, so Chelsea, what is it, 660 million they spent in the last season over 2 windows?
Yep.
So players that are going to leave now, so what, Mendy cost 70 odd million, wasn't it? He's not going to go for 70 million.
He didn't cost 70 million.
Him and Kepa were both expensive, weren't they?
Kepa was like 62 million.
So how much was Mendy?
I don't know. I don't even know where. I forgot where he bought him from. He cost a bit, but he wasn't that much.
But whatever he goes for now is going to be for a loss, right?
Probably.
They're not going to make money on him. Koulibaly, they're not going to make money on him when he goes, yeah? Ziyech, they're not going to make money on that deal. So all these players...
Ziyech was free, though.
All these players that go for less than they paid for them, say, you've got to balance the book somewhere. So Mason Mount, who cost you nothing, can offset all of that loss and reset your financial fair play.
Exactly. Just take the 40, personally. But
it's a bit like salary cap in America, you know, like...
Exactly.
So, yeah, with that, we'll see what happens with that one. So, I spoke about him earlier last week. So, Harry Kane, the dynamics change slightly. Some of the options are potentially off the table now, depending on what other moves happen. So, where can you see him going this summer? Or do you think he just stays at Tottenham, sees his options?
I think he stays at Tottenham.
Do you think he signs, or do you think he just stays and sees what happens?
He stays. He'll see his contract out, and he'll go next year. And then I think there'll be a lot of teams interested in him. Now, we look at the targets. I don't think Newcastle are realistically a target. I think they're all right up front. So let's take Newcastle away. I think Man United, if they sign a striker this summer, he ain't going to be a target next year. Now, you're looking at it, okay, it leaves 2 teams for me. That's PSG and Real Madrid. Now, what happens with PSG? They don't have a striker now. They have Mbappe, who can play, but they've got this young lad who didn't really do anything. Now, does Mbappe go to Real Madrid? Now, then PSG take Kane next summer? Or if Mbappe stays, do Real Madrid take Kane next summer? For me, that's where it goes. Things change in football, and I'm not saying that he's definitely staying, but right now, I can't see a move, especially for what that twathead is asking for a 30-year-old striker. Just ask for 50 million, man. The guy cost... It's the same as Mount. He didn't cost you any money. 50 million for a guy who's 30 years old with 1 year left. There's no problem in that. You know, that's not an issue. But he stays. He don't sign. He goes next year. And obviously, depending on Man United, I think there's 3 teams. Man United, though I think they will get someone this summer, that leaves 2 teams. And that's going to be PSG or Real Madrid for me.
Because if you look at Levy, I think because he blocked Harry Kane going to Man City last time, rejected it. They got Haaland in, took that deal off the table.
Yeah.
I think he's just thinking he can do the same thing again here. Take all the deals off. Man United will get someone. Real Madrid will get Benzema, and then that only leaves PSG as a place for him to go if he wants to go there. And
Chelsea's an option, but I don't see him going Chelsea.
I can see him going there because of Poch, but I think because of the rivalry between the 2 teams, that's something. I don't think Harry Kane's that much of a bastard that he'd do that. Like, he wouldn't go to Arsenal, Chelsea, like local. If he went to somewhere like United Tottenham isn't a rivalry, even though Levy says he is. They're not, like, they came 8th in the league. That's not a rival, is it? No. They're rivals at the moment, like Brighton and Aston Villa.
Well, Levy thinks they're a big club, and they're not.
Yeah, and then. So obviously, like with Poch, yes, that's why I thought if Poch was still at PSG, that would be a move I could see happening, just because he knows the manager, and it's not really that far to travel, is it?
No,
but
exactly.
Now there's no one there that he's gonna know, really, is there? So why would he move? I think he wants to stay in. I think like Man United is the option, but Newcastle, I would say potentially not now, but say he does leave and go to Real Madrid or PSG this summer, short-term deal like Messi did, 2 years. You never know. Newcastle might be knocking on the door for like title contention in 2 or 3 years' time.
Yeah.
And might just want someone who's just guaranteed finisher.
Well, you look at someone like Lewandowski. What is he, 35? He's still at his best. So yeah, exactly. I think Kane's got 6 years in him. So yeah, I think that might be something in the future. But right now, for me, I think he stays at Tottenham
Because
for the year, for these seasons.
I would personally stay the year and say to Levy, I'm not signing the deal. I'm going to stay and play for you. And if you sort the team out and we're in a good position, we're on for Champions League, I might sign a 1-year extension, 2-year extension. But also he's available for anyone else that comes in for him. So he's in control of his destiny rather than being like Levy's puppet.
There will definitely be offers for him if he doesn't sign the deal. Let's make sure for that. The clubs will pay the wages. They just don't want to pay the millions.
So Robert Jones thinks that Real Madrid will sign Harry Kane this season.
I think they won't.
Do you think there's a possibility though that Mbappe said he wants to stay this year? If he stays this year, he'll definitely go to Madrid next year for free if he doesn't sign a contract, right?
But Mbappe, this is the thing about Mbappe doesn't play as a centre forward. I know he can, but Mbappe wants to play in the left wing. I can't see him and Vinny playing together. I can't see it.
But could you see Real Madrid taking Kane on a 2-year deal, just until they can sort the Mbappe deal out, and then if he goes, and they play Rodrigo up?
I think that's disrespectful to Kane. A 2-year
they
deal.
Could play Rodrigo
in the world.
They could play Rodrigo up front, and Mbappe on one side, Vinny on another side.
What about Jusilou? Was the one they signed recently?
On loan, wasn't it?
No, I thought it was permanent.
Or was he on loan and now it's permanent? Because
he just signed a new deal. He just signed for them. He was at Motti's case. He's at someone, Valencia or something.
So, do you think that's just there because they know Mbappe's coming in a year's time? Just so they've got one.
Yeah, I don't see Kane going. I expect Kane to stay. I can't see Kane because if he was going, there would have been noise by now.
Okay.
If Barcelona had the money, but they don't need Kane, they got Lewandowski. So who else is going to buy him? Bayern Munich?
Would he go to buy? What would he go to?
He might go to Bayern next summer, but he ain't going to go there now, is he? Bayern Munich can't afford him.
What's he going to go there for, though? Who does he know there? What can you see Harry Kane living in Germany?
Winning trophies.
Like I've said before, so is Calvin Phillips a Hall of Fame centre midfielder because he's won the treble now, playing about 6 games this season?
No, and agreed. You are spot on because when people say who's better, Giroud or fucking Kane, Kane is 1,000 times better than Giroud, and I'm an Arsenal fan. There is no comparison. It's not even a debate. Oh, but he's won more. Shut the fuck up. It doesn't matter. Giroud has never ever scored 20 league goals in any season. Never ever done it.
And tell the truth,
in the World Cup, but he won the World Cup.
Tell the truth, as an Arsenal fan that loves laughing at the empty trophy cabinet, if he then does go to Bayern Munich and wins the treble over there, will they all just be saying, Farmers League, German SBL? They'll be taking the piss out. They'll be taking the absolute piss out of him for going to an easy league to win trophies, wouldn't they?
Yes and no. He'll still be winning.
But will it just be like an upgrade to the Audi Cup and everyone making little emojis and gifs to laugh at Harry Kane?
Listen, if I was Harry Kane right now, I'd be desperately wanting to win something, and I'll be moving away from Tottenham because Tottenham ain't winning fuck up.
So would you not rather go to Madrid or PSG that could potentially? Because I don't see.
But why PSG's the worst league in Germany?
No, I'm just thinking for the Champions League because of the money they've got. You know, like the sort of players they're going to buy. Bayern Munich I've not seen their team get better in the last 3 or 4 years. They're still too good for their league, even though they only just about won it.
They got good players in that team.
But for the Champions League, that annihilation they got to City, that's not a that doesn't happen to Bayern Munich of old.
Yeah.
So there it just looks like it's just like a 4 or 5 team monopoly for the Champions League at the moment. It's like a definite tier. But then saying that, so this guy here, Kyle Walker, so linked with Bayern Munich, do you see that as an actual opportunity? Because I know Atletico Madrid have been taking all of our wing backs over the last several years. Do you see him going there? Or I remember him doing an interview for Sky Sports News, and he was saying about when they first got promoted, Sheffield United with Chris Wilder, he said, "Oh yeah, when Pep's finished with me, hopefully Chris will give me a go back at Sheffield United. But now it's...
Yeah, I'm not sure on this one. I'm really not sure. It's a surprising one. Because I know Pep loves Kyle Walker, but he has started to use him less. But he plays him in the main games. Now, this Rico Lewis looks like a good player. I think Kyle Walker needs to just stay for the next. I think he's got 1 year left of his contract. Believe me, I think he has. I think he's not going to give an amazing fee. 33, 34-year-old. He's around that. Left backs, they're not going to get fees like strikers. Now, I think let him play the last year. Let him give Rico Lewis that little bit of, security blanket as he becomes the first choice right back. And then make the move back to Sheffield United or even Bayern Munich if they're still interested. I can't see it happening, but obviously Bayern Munich, I've seen how good he is against these fast players and how much he can help them maybe against to maybe do in Europe. So that might sound silly, but Kyle Walker's still a top player and he doesn't get done very often. If you're asking me what I think happens, I think he stays at Man City. I can't see the move happening, but I might be wrong.
Because also, what's happening with João Cancelo? Because there was a lot of rumours about where he's
leaving. He's leaving.
Yeah, he's leaving. But have we got a club?
By Barcelona, but you know what they're like. They have to wait for permission.
The thing with Barcelona, like they're at a point where they can't even afford a McDonald's at the moment, and then they're going out like saying they're going to splash all this money on a player.
Ruben Neves was supposed to go there.
Yeah, it's just very strange for that one. So. You spoke about him earlier. So Kai Havertz, my favourite player in the Premier League. So talk me through this one. Arsenal linked with him. If he comes, what's your thoughts on this one?
Well, it's apparently the deal's agreed. Apparently it's going to happen. So I'm not overly happy because I don't rate him as a striker. I think he's someone who's always been a bit overrated. But I believe he's going to play in that Xhaka position. I believe he's playing in the midfield three, like Odegaard. So it's going to be like a 4-3-3, but in theory it's a 4-1-2-3, if that makes sense. So I don't think he's worth, 60 million? I don't think he's worth anything up to 4. I think he's about 30 million, 35. So I'm not someone who's get the deal done, get excited, but it's happening. So let's just get behind it. Let's see how he gets on. He has always played as a striker or a false number 9. So maybe a change in the position. Because when he played for Leverkusen, he played in midfield 3. Let's not forget that. People might not know that. He's never actually played in his favourite position for Chelsea. And I'm not making excuses because I've never said he was that good. So I'm not changing my mind. But I'm not visibly upset because I know he's got a bit of ability as a player, as a goal scorer. No, he hasn't. So let's just see. It's going to happen now. I think it's very obvious it's going to happen. He's obviously going to play as Xhaka, as the new Xhaka in that position. Let's see how it goes. We know he's got ability. We weren't the only team that were interested, but we're the only team that were able to go anywhere near their valuation. And that sort of gives you a clue where teams aren't willing to go near valuation. They're not 100% certain if he's going to be that good. But we've obviously want him. Arteta is quite stubborn. When he wants a player, he wants a player. And he doesn't care if fans want him or not. It isn't going to be another popular signing because, again, he's not the most popular player because a lot of people don't rate him. Frustrated that we could have maybe got someone else, but obviously there's a plan to play him. There's a plan to get the best out of him. I expect him to play in a different position than what he's played, and maybe that will bring the best out of him. Because, again, I think he's not an out-and-out goal scorer, and that's why he's been judged. So I know you don't like him very much, and I'm not saying I love him, but it's going to happen now, so you just got to accept it, really.
Do you think part of the problem is because, like we said, he's not a striker, a bit like how Raheem Sterling, he can't shoot. Really good on the ball, but when they're one-on-one with a goalie, how a striker like a Harry Kane or whoever would just all away.
Bang.
They're not finishers. They're more of a sort of ball falls to them and they ran it in from the edge of the area sort of thing. They're just striking rebounds, etc. When he was at Leverkusen, like you said, he wasn't playing centre forward for them, was he?
No, he's not a centre forward. That's the thing. But
he's been played there quite. He's been played there quite a lot at Chelsea, and it's obvious when you watch him that the guy, he's got no composure in front of goal. He looks like scared to shoot when he's one-on-one with the keeper.
Yeah, exactly.
Zero confidence, really bad body language. But is that just because he's been put in that position which he's not natural at. If he played, like you said, if he played a bit further back, his actual flair that everyone got the hype about could come back.
Exactly.
So, who have we got on there? Oh, Robert Jones. There we go. Robert Jones on the ball. Chelsea have rejected a second bid for Mason Mount. So I'm guessing that's just happened as we're on air. So keep us posted, Rob, as you're out and about on the ground. So let us know what's going on, mate. Thank you. So yeah, so
How many watching, Phil?
not a lot.
Carry
Robert
on.
Jones. So yeah, so that's Kai Havertz. We'll see what it is. They call him the manager killer, but see if he does the job at Arsenal. So we're just going to talk about one thing at the moment because there's quite a lot of players involved in these transfers. So the Saudi Pro League. So what is your thoughts on the Saudi Pro League in general and the recent transfers that have just happened?
Okay, what? Koulibaly, Ziyech, Kante, Benzema, Ronaldo. They're all in their 30s. They're all past their prime. Fair enough. I don't care about the money because Man City have the money. You know, Real Madrid have the money. You know, PSG have the money. A lot of the Prem clubs have the money. It doesn't bother me. People padding about it. It just is what it is. I don't understand why any player in their prime would go there. So the Ruben Neves one annoys me because that guy could start for most teams in the world. Now he's gone to not ruin his career. I'm not saying that because there are good players there. But the percentage of good players to shit players in that league is probably, 10 to 90? There's players in that league that wouldn't even play in a Sunday league team. I could go to the Saudi League and I would be probably average, above average, you know. But compared, if I went to the Premier League, I'd probably be the worst player in the league. So that's the problem for me. I can't see why anyone in their prime. So we'll go through Ronaldo, 37 years old. Yeah, I've done it all. Offer me loads of money. Bang. All right. Mendy, goalie, had injury problems, offered loads of money. You know what? I've won the Champions League. I'm not starting. I'll take it. Koulibaly's having an embarrassment first year at Chelsea. Yeah, I'm 32. Not really doing it anymore. I'll go and play a couple of years there and I might go back to Italy. Ziyech, been shit for Chelsea for 3 years. 30, 29 years old? He's from Africa. I know it's in Asia, but he's not far away. You're like, going to get offered loads of money. Yeah, easy. Kante has had hamstring problems for 2 years. 32, 33. He's past it. Yeah, fuck it. They're going to offer me loads of money because of name value. They all make sense. They all make sense in deals. I've no issue with any of them deals. Okay, the Neves one, potentially the Saha one, that's being linked away. I don't get it. I don't understand why any player in their prime, in a position where they could go to most teams in the world, would decide to go there. But at the same time, people going, it's ruining football. Man City have been doing this for years. So why has that not ruined football? It is just the game. It's the money. They have it. And they're going to fucking spend it. So if you don't like it, don't watch the fucking game. You know, exactly how it is. Now, I just don't like players in their prime going there. But if players want to go there for a payday, fucking let them go. You know, it's their job. If me and you worked for a company in London and got paid 100k a month, and then some Saudi company did the same thing, we're going to pay 300,000 a year, but no one's going to start fucking putting banners out going, you guys got the money, because we are.
It won't be 300,000 though, will it, G? It'd be going from earning 100,000 a year to earning 300,000 a month. Yeah,
but where we going? Yeah. They're going for the money. Who cares?
So imagine the railway.
But everyone's so hypocritical. Oh, they're going for the money. Okay, let's get 10 of my friends. Would you go there for the money? Yeah. Shut the fuck up then.
Because if they wanted you to go and run a railway station out there for £10 million a year, are you going to say no? Say exactly the same thing you're doing now. Are you going to say yes or no for £10 million a year?
Yes.
Right. Because.
What about you?
Yeah, exactly. Benzema. He's getting £3.5 million a week. A week.
He doesn't do it. He's done it all. He's won everything in the world. And that's what I mean. The World Cup. But he's literally been the best striker the last 10 years. What? He has nothing to prove. They've offered him money. What does he have to prove? Fuck it. I'm going to go and make the money.
So when you say about the players in their prime, so say Zaha, we've just offered him 200k a week. So if he can now get £2 million a week going there, why would he stay at us? If we'd do exactly the same thing, if we were offered
Because it's a waste of talent. The guy could go and play for any team in the world for me, or any top team, maybe a couple out of things. But Neves would start in any team in the world for me. I really believe that.
But go back to the point. Go back to the point. So he could play in any team in the world, but he's going to go there for more money, yeah?
Yeah.
You could work at any airport, railway station in the world, but you could go to a shit one in Saudi Arabia and earn 20 times the money. What are you going to choose? Are you going to stay there in your prime in the big city, or are you going to go there and be a millionaire?
Yeah, I know what you mean. You are right. I just think players that are still playing at a high level should think about their career. But I get why players that are not saying past it, who have done it, who are a bit older, who might not have long left, do it. I get that. But players that are doing well, that could go to bigger clubs, I think they should think about their legacy a bit more. Do something else before going there, because you could still go there in 4 years' time. Neves could go to Barcelona. I know that they have issues with money. They go to Barcelona, be a star for 4 years, not sign a new contract. They'll come running again in 4 years' time. We can then get probably the same money you would get now. So, yeah, you are right. You're spot on right what you're saying, and I completely agree with that. But what I'm saying is that players that are in their prime, I think they could go there a few years later and be a bit more remembered, not respected. I don't think they give a fuck what people think, but go and win something in a better league and go win something where it matters, instead of going to playing with some construction workers that have probably never played football before. I get that. Make more money. I understand that, and I agree with it. But at the same time, I think these better players, they should just do something a bit more before making that move, because this money ain't going anywhere anytime soon. So it's always going to be on the table. You see what I mean?
But how long do you think this Saudi league will continue at this current knock? Because the Chinese league went mental when it first started, and you don't really see anyone going there now.
But they didn't sign, apart from Hulk and Oscar, they didn't sign that many great players, though, did they?
But all the noddy players went there for like double bubble, didn't they?
Yeah, but these weren't
Demba
really
Ba
top
and people
players.
like that went over there for like fantastic money.
Yeah, none of them. Oscar's still there, isn't he?
I believe so.
Yeah, but
and
Saudi
oil.
League.
Apparently, oil's not going to last forever, is it? Apparently, we're going to use it all up by X number of years. So then, where's the money going to come from? It's not going to be Saudi Pro League. It's not going to be Saudi Pro League season ticket holders, is it?
No. Yeah, Chelsea fans and Man City fans start wearing them in Saudi stuff.
Do you reckon they'll let them in the Champions League just because they have all the players in like 10 years' time? They'll have to just make a World Champions League.
Yeah, like Australia in the Eurovision.
Oh, here we go. Robert Jones. 13 minutes ago, Burnley agreed a deal to sign Dara Shave. I think you told us that about an hour ago, G. But thanks again, Robert. I did say
that about an hour ago, Rob.
Well, so obviously transfer news. That's pretty much all areas we've covered. Is anything else going on that we've missed there, G, that you can think of off the top of your head?
Maddison.
Yes, I'm annoyed about that. So Maddison, 1 year left on his contract. You've just been relegated, and you're demanding top dollar for it. What is that all about?
Again, it makes no sense. I think what they want, 50 million. I think that's ridiculous. Like, I think they need to be realistic and expect 25, 30. I think Tielemans leaving for free has something to do with it. But at the same time, Tottenham offering apparently 50 million to Barnes and Maddison is a bit stupid. I think you're going to have to, because Barnes has got time on his contract. Maddison's going to go, but he's not going to go if they're going to offer more money. But he's not going to want to play in the Championship because he knows he's not going to be able to get the Euros if he plays in the Championship. Doesn't matter if he scores 50 goals in that league. He's not going to. But what I'm saying is that league, even though it's a good league, you can't, for England, you just can't play for England if you're playing in that league. So if he's going to get priced out, he's not going to want to play there. So I think they need to be realistic here and just put maybe 30 million. But it looks like they're sticking to their guns, which I think is ridiculous. He's worth 50 million. If he was a Premier League club, even with 1 year left, I'd pay 50 million for him. But with 1 year left, Championship club, 50 million, it's a piss take. It's a piss take. So we'll see where that goes. I think he'll be a good signing for Tottenham or Newcastle. I rate Maddison. I think he can play really anywhere behind the striker. He can drift into that central midfield role if he's needed for a period of time. but I think Leicester need to be a bit more realistic here. I think they need to probably lower it down to at least 35, 40 and try and get some deal done. Because, like I said, if he's not moving, he's not going to play there, and you've got an unhappy player, and then potentially they might not go up next year and have a player who's just left for free, who you probably could have got at least 40 million for or 30 million for if you were a bit more sensible. But I think Leicester are struggling with money. I think Leicester, Southampton, Sheffield United, Everton are all struggling with money at the moment. They're all looking for these new investments into their clubs. So I think they're trying to get as much money as possible. And it don't work like that, you know. I'm not going to buy something that I could get for much cheaper in a year's time for a lot of money. So, you know, if someone said to me the PS5, you can have it next year for free, or you can buy it now for £1,000, I'll wait a year.
Yeah, exactly. Do you think though Tottenham, if they were a bit clever with it, came back for the double again, but just raised it a little bit higher, they'd probably get
What was it?
package.
Was it 50 million? Was it 50 million?
Yeah,
that's ridiculous, though.
Do you reckon if they just went 65, 70 million, threw in Harry Winks or someone like that as a make weight, they'd just go bang their deal done?
Is he still there? I thought he got released.
I think he's ill, Oliver Skip. Anyone that they're potentially not going to use, just give them a player and a bit of money, and just say, we'll have those two. You can have a player, a midfielder.
I think 70 would be a good offer. 40 and 30. But again, Maddison's worth 60 if his contract was fine, but he's 30. He's 30 straight away. He's not a Premier League player.
Because if you look at it, the amount of money they wasted not selling Tielemans, they had that deal done with you several times 2 years ago. And they rejected it.
I think him going for free is another reason. I think. Yeah,
but that's been done that's their own fault because they didn't sell him when people were interested in him.
Agreed.
So, and the other one I was going to say, so David Raya, are we saying it's Tottenham or nothing, or Man United still a player?
I think Man United are still interested, but they're not going to sell him for 40 million. He's got 1 year left on his contract. You know, I rate Raya. I think he's a top goalie. I think he's a top 3, top 4, maybe top 5. One of between then, you know, obviously top of my head, he's definitely a top 5. But you can't expect teams to pay 40 million in this market where they're spending so much money on a player with 1 year left. I think if we had 2 or 3 years left, I think 40 would make sense. I think they've just got to be realistic. Just say 25. Tottenham will come back in because Brentford have already replaced them, and they've also already got Thomas Tarvosco, who's a guy that will challenge the new goalie as well. So now Brentford have got 3 goalies who all want to play. What are they going to do if Ray doesn't go? He's not signed a new contract. You've got a guy who's not signed a new contract with 1 year left. You've literally signed a replacement who is good enough to start and will start. And now they're going to have a guy on the bench or even potentially not even playing with 1 year left because the valuation was too high. I think Brentford need to be a bit more sensible here. They're a very well-run club and they get things right. But on this occasion, it's not their fault Ray didn't want to sign. They've offered him 2 years in advance. They've tried. He's not interested. It is what it is. Take the 20 million. It cost you 5 million. It's not the end of the world. You've still gained on him. You're still going to make a profit. And he did well for you as well. He was one of your best players for the last 3-4 years. So I think on this instance, I think Brentford need to lower the valuation. I think Tottenham are more realistic than Man United. I think Tottenham want him more, but as of now, they're out the deal. But if you come back to them and go, look, we'll negotiate, I think they can get a deal done. And only because they already have players in. I think you've already got a goalie in. This goalie's come in to be number 1. It makes no sense to play Raya with a goalie that's ready to play because then you can create unhappy players. So it's a situation they need to sort out. Obviously, they need to sort out the Ivan Toney situation, but Brendan Johnson seems to be a player that they're interested in, and that's another topic for another day. But regarding Raya, they need to sort that situation out. I think, like I said, I don't expect him to play even if he stays. So get some money for him instead of him leaving for free and not playing.
Do you think they'll just 100% sell him even at a cut price on deadline day if he hasn't gone by then?
Yeah. Well, I just can't. He's a good goalie, but I don't know why. If I was an owner or the manager, I would not play a guy who does not want to let play and sit 2 guys who are contracted longer. One's a new signing on the bench. I think that just creates bad morale. You know, you don't need to do it. It's unnecessary. He wants to leave. You know, he's done well for your club. Just let him go. Just sell him for 20 million. His heart's on leaving. Just do it. it creates bad morale, especially if you sit him on the bench and then go, "Oh, we could have just got 20 million for him at least." Do you see what I mean?
Yeah, exactly. Wow. On that note, that is that. So, is there anything you wanted
Thanks
to?
for calling in, people. Appreciate you coming in.
Oh yes, all those people. Robert Jones sat there in the chat, didn't call in, did he? Yeah. So anyway, guys, thanks for those couple of you that did watch. We'll be trying to get another few transfer shows in closer to the summer and deadline day, things like that. As the season gets closer, we'll probably do a weekly show. You'll probably do a few bits when you're going just on the sport that's happening over the summer while we've got no football on.
At some point, I will. I just need to remember.
Yeah, we'll do it after it happens, won't we? After we lose the Ashes 5-0, we'll do a counselling show.
Yeah, and you can find me on Instagram, Facebook, Snapchat, YouTube. Obviously, you can find me on here because I'm here right now. And my name's Graham.
Have you had a Magnum today?
Yeah, I've had a Magnum. You can
not,
find me everywhere.
You
can find me doing.
He's not going to watch this because he's having a break.
Yeah, he's having a break.
He's got his driving tests as well to focus on.
Yeah, bless his cotton socks. Anyway, I think that's it for today, Phil.
Yeah, that's it. Thanks for anyone watching. Please like, subscribe. Anyone re-watching it, thanks for watching and your support as always. And we'll catch you on the next show. Cheers, guys.